No!
Hardly, no!
Worth it.
The best part of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League after playing it for a few hours is the story, and yes, it certainly seems like you will be killing characters you know and love.
Hey, your face always looks so... what?
Lots of death happening here. That's also a big part of the problem I have with the entire premise. I can't help but shake that there's no way Rocksteady is going to let any of this stick. Our heroes have done terrible things. There will be a time reversal mechanic or some alternate Earth timeline that comes along and washes away all of the terrible awfulness that happens during the story. From enslaving a child form of poison ivy to straight up watching your heroes murder people, there's a lot here to make you feel a bit uncomfortable about the journey you're being taken on.
Daphne's hungry.
I did it, okay? I put the bloody bomb in her head ages ago.
What?
And when you pair this disconnect with game mechanics straight out of the likes of Destiny, Anthem, or Marvel's Avengers, I'm left worried about the final product coming together in a way that works. The fun just wasn't there for me, at least not yet. Let me explain in more detail. The story has its fun moments, yes, and the team banter, at least during the cutscenes, is when Kill the Justice League is at its best.
Awesome.
Aw, he's so sweet. He's not gonna make it.
The cutscenes have clearly been given a lot of love. Meanwhile, the character models look great, the voice acting is on point, and there are a lot of moments where I genuinely laugh thinking this could be enough to carry me through the messy and tired open world missions. While they could reverse time to fix the morality issues at play, chances are that will be difficult given the planned expansions, story additions, and gear chases coming later in the form of free updates. That means we'll be stuck with the terrible things that transpire, and if the name sticks, stuck with a dead Justice League. At one point, the team puts a bomb in the head of Poison Ivy, who just happens to be a child. But hey, they punch Boomerang for putting a bomb in her head, so let's move on from that whole enslaving a child thing. I get it's Poison Ivy and this is kind of Waller's thing, but I'm using it to illustrate a point. All of these things in one package feels like an odd mix. Rocksteady had a winning formula with the Batman games and is trying to write a completely new book, but so far, lightning is not in this bottle. A live service game from Rocksteady is not what I had on my wish list this year. The team is single-handedly responsible for making some of the best combat I have ever experienced. The Predator sections in the Arkham series also allowed you to tackle them with stealth or brute force, adding further flavor and variety to Bruce Wayne's vigilantism. To this day, in fact, you can find ridiculous takedown montages on YouTube and TikTok for Batman Arkham Knight. Unfortunately for Suicide Squad, once the fun story bits end, you're left with a much less inspired combat system, and an open world that's filled with tedious tasks that are more about grinding through traditional tropes like point defense or collect the material and turn it in. There are shining moments with the combat, such as the powerful feeling of takedowns, and there does seem to be some depth to the build variety, but you'll do it surrounded by teammates who won't shut up with their quips, which quickly becomes annoying.
Feels
How do
good
we
to be an
start?
apex
I might
predator.
look chill, but that's just my UX design.
Sometimes it's to the point that you'll get 2 to 3 lines of dialogue overlapping while you're just waiting for your crew at a checkpoint. And when the combat does start, it has its fun moments, but it also has weird issues like long animations to regen your shield, or you'll get knocked out of an animation for unclear reasons. I thought it was just me, but it also happens in this provided footage straight from WB. While we have this provided boss fight footage against the Flash to reference, I just want to mention that I found this fight incredibly annoying. There's no indication of where the Flash is most times, and he's the Scarlet Speedster, so he's just constantly zipping around the map. That didn't make the fight hard, it just made it frustrating. You get a handful of shots on him before he teleports to the next location, so you're just trying to chase him down or catch him standing in one spot long enough to get hits in before he does it all again. I do wish there was a bit of a he's down, get a moment, but unfortunately it seems like that trope wasn't used here. Now, WB also sent over some footage of an experienced Shark player wrecking shop, so I'll include some footage of their gameplay in this video preview to show what it looks like when someone has played for hundreds of hours versus a couple of hours at a preview event. In the open world, however, missions tend to favor many of the tired and true types, which makes them feel a bit like uninspired filler. Like, stop me if you've heard this one before, you defend a point from waves of enemies that spawn. Sound familiar? Now imagine every time you defeat a handful of these enemies, you just stand around waiting with nothing to do. This was exactly what happened during one of the core story missions, and the padding feels completely unnecessary. When the next quest started, I stood there while Amanda Waller called my character on comms and bantered with Poison Ivy before sending me back to the other end of the map to save citizens in a flying bus that looked like it's straight out of Fortnite.
I hate this, Task Force X.
At least the Riddler puzzles are making a return from the Arkham games, bringing at least one familiar fun activity to Suicide Squad's Metropolis.
Within this city's fiscal stash, Lex Luthor sits upon your cash.
At least I hope they're fun, because I didn't actually get to solve any of them. The potential saving grace for all my gripes could be that the whole combat system comes together a lot better when you get to sit down and actually make a build, which we didn't have a chance to do right away at the preview event. For some context, we started playing through the same tutorial from the beta and picking a character, Deadshot in my case. After that, we jumped straight into Chapter 3 where I tried out Shark because the character I had been playing on was taken. What I didn't realize was that Chapter 3 gives you complete build control, and having played on a different class, it took me a bit of our session to get warmed up to the new movement mechanics Shark has compared to Deadshot. If we look back at that provided Flash gameplay, it looks like the player has a good grasp at movement, but it all comes back to similar core mechanics. Aim gun, shoot gun, and those core mechanics in a game like Destiny really save it. Here, it just feels samey across the board, even with each character's abilities sprinkled in. I didn't really get time to look at my gear stats and throw something together to try out, but I did try a build recommendation from Jack Hackett, production manager at Rocksteady, but again, I didn't really have enough time to get used to how it's supposed to flow together. However, his excitement about the build possibilities does continue to give me a glimmer of hope. To give you a taste of what you'll be looking at in terms of complexity, there are weapon afflictions that attach an elemental effect to weapons like Deep Freeze that does cold damage for a period of time. Penguin will let you craft new weapons, shield mods, traversal mods, or grenades. And there are some interesting guns here like Bugs A-Poppin' that will not do damage to a Terminant, but will slow down every enemy within 10 meters. And there was this one slot machine grenade that was also pretty fun. Each character also has a skill tree they can upgrade, and all of that is on top of weapons and mods that work together to give you passive buffs when you pair, say, 2 gizmo gear pieces together to do more burning damage, but with the trade-off that grenades do 50% less damage, but have a 100% chance to burn all enemies. I know I've been really hard on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in this preview, and believe me, I really want to be wrong about it. Not only is Rocksteady one of my favorite developers, but this genre is one I've spent far too much time in across Destiny, Anthem, and yes, even Marvel's Avengers. But while there is a story here that makes me wonder where the heck it's all going, I left the preview even less optimistic than when I came in. Here's hoping Suicide Squad wins me back when it releases on February 2nd. Are you excited about Suicide Squad? Let me know why in the comments below. And for more on all things gaming, keep it right here at IGN.
Just checking. We're all seeing that thing, right?